Hey, welcome back to Lick of the Week videos. We're continuing in the Understanding Minor Keys series. Up till now we've just looked at the chord progressions for Jerusalem's Ridge, which is our example tune, and we've looked at the three versions of the minor scale, A minor, to give us chords to build upon. So what we've done is taken the notes of those three versions of the scale and we've lumped them together in what we call triads to build chords, and we've examined why we use certain chords and maybe where those chords came from. Now I want to move over into soloing, and again, to be a good soloist on a tune like Jerusalem's Ridge in the key of A minor, you need to be familiar with the A minor scale. We've used the scale up to now just to build chords and to examine the chord progression or the logical order for the chords. Now I want to use these notes to solo with. So let's go back and examine the A minor scale. Now I'm going to choose to show you this in melodic style because melodic style is basically built upon scale notes, and the whole style is predicated on you being able to play various scales. So the positions I'm going to use in the fingering and the picking patterns for the right hand are going to conform to what most melodic players use. Scruggs style is not really built upon being able to play individual scale notes. They're built on arpeggios, which are notes that flow over chords, using the chord notes to make rolling patterns. So for the tune Jerusalem's Ridge, I'm not going to capo up and tune the second string down like some players would, although that's a great way of doing it. I'm going to attempt to play the song uncapoed in the key of A minor using these scale positions. So let's establish first those scale notes that we studied in one of the first videos, which was the A minor natural scale. And we've already identified the notes in the video, but let's find them on the fingerboard melodically. The A note is the fourth string at 7, A. The B note is the second string open. C is the third string at 5. D is the first string open. E is the second string at 5. F is the first string at 3. The G note is open 5th, and then the last note, which is A again, can be the first string at 7. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. No sharps or flats in that. Okay, now this is a good point to pick up here. The reason that there are no sharps or flats in this A minor scale is because minor scales come from a parent. They're actually born or derived from what we call the relative major. You hear these terms in music lingo, relative minor, relative major. Well, the relative major, or the scale that most closely matches this scale, is the C major scale. So the key and the scale of A minor actually is derived from a C scale. So if you play a C major scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and you go to the sixth note in the scale, which is an A note, right, and build the scale from there, use A, pretend like A is now the new starting note. You're still inside a C scale, but you're starting on the A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So what you have is actually a mini scale, or the minor scale is built into the major scale. And that's the way all minor scales are related. Minor scales are related to a parent or a major. So when you learn your major scales, which many of you probably already have, when you learn a G scale, for instance, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, you have already learned an E minor scale. You just need to isolate it and learn that new pattern. So for A minor, the A minor scale and the C major scale will follow pretty much the same pathway. We just need to make sure we start and stop on the A notes, and we'll have the A minor scale. So I'm going to start the bass string as my lowest note, because typically you want to find the lowest note of the scale when you're playing a natural minor scale. Again, this is just the plain old A minor scale, A minor natural. In another video we'll look at the harmonic and the melodic versions of this scale, but for now we're just looking at the plain Jane, plain old A minor scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And if you're you're familiar with melodic scales at all, you'll know that there's more than one place to find certain notes of a scale you're working with. There are a couple of other places that I can find these notes, but I'm going to stick with this pathway because the melody Jerusalem's Ridge will use these scale notes, and it will use this pathway we're learning very effectively. So if you decide you want to ramble around and find these notes in other places, that's great, but they're probably not going to lend themselves quite as well to playing a solo as this pathway does, or that's what I found through the years. So for now, let's just stick with this one version of the A minor scale. Even though we can find those notes in other places, let's stick with this one for now. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. No, F, not F sharp, because we're in the A minor scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Excuse my little brain blurb there. So there's our A minor scale. And if the fingering that I'm using in the video for the left hand doesn't work well for you, use whatever you like, because ultimately you just need to play the scale correctly. It doesn't matter what fingers you use. Now this is the A minor scale working between the 7th and the 3rd frets, and when we start playing the solo for Jerusalem's Ridge, you're going to see how these notes fall right along this pathway pretty easily. Now there's a lot of different ways to play these scale notes. These are what I call single note scales, where you're just playing each individual note, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then there are versions of the scale called 2-note and 4-note versions. But we're not really going to get into those in the video. I've actually posted a lot of information about melodic scales in the Lick of the Week videos from a year or two ago. So if you want reviews in the different types of scales, single, 2-note, 4-note versions of this scale, go back and review those videos. What we want to do is just concentrate on using the minor scale for A minor to play Jerusalem's Ridge. So if you need any remedial help on the different versions of this scale, single, 2-note, 4-note, please refer back to those videos because I've covered this before. Now, once we've established the scale pathway and we know what fingers we want to use for the left hand, then we just listen to the melody of Jerusalem's Ridge and try to determine where those notes fall. Now this is another example of where practicing scales over and over will train your ear to hear these different notes and the intervals or the spaces between them, which is very, very important for ear training. So one of the things about scales that's really important is for ear training, for intervals, to be able to hear the spaces between the notes and to be able to identify those notes that you hear with the positions on the fingerboard. And it's something that won't happen overnight, but with repeated practice, listening to tunes, listening for those scale notes in the melodies that you're trying to play, over time, concentrated effort on your part doing these things with scales will build not only muscles in your left hand and picking patterns for your right, but will also allow you to hear these scale notes and relate them to a melody really quickly. So for the rest of this video, I'm just going to run the A minor scale back and forth, and you can play along with me if you like, and try to practice these with a metronome to get them in time. I won't use the metronome here, but we will in another video. So here's the A minor scale as we go out. In the next video, we'll start looking at the first section of the melody, Jerusalem's Ridge. See you next time.